Welcome back, everyone, to the Joey Sports Show. For today's YouTube exclusive video, I'll be ranking the starting running backs from the NFL 2022-2023 season. So enjoy. So running back here, we have Aaron Jones from the Green Bay Packers, and I'm going to say he had a good year. I think a lot of people didn't really notice him that much due to Green Bay having all sorts of other issues this year, but I think he had a good year. So I'm going to rank him in the good category. Next up, we got A.J. Dillon. He did a great job, I think, this year for Green Bay. Had it kind of coming out there, so I'm going to put him at... So if he wasn't the starter, so I'm going to put him at average here. But if he would have been the starter, I would have put him at good there. But I think, honestly, just not being consistently playing as much, I don't think I can put him in the good. So I'm going to put him at average, but he had a good year, in my opinion. Alvin Kamara here from the New Orleans Saints. He was a very big disappointment this year. He wasn't bad, but he had a lot of injuries. He was disappointed this year. Normally the elite, but this year I'm gonna put him at average. He's had an average year. Next up here we have, I think this is Jeff Wilson from San Francisco. Of course, he's now from Miami. I think that's who that is. He doesn't really do much running back, but he's not. He's below average. He's not that great of a starter there. I'm not, he's nothing that good, but he's not a bust or anything. Next up here we have Austin Ekeler from the Chargers. Insane year this year. He had a great season. You like to see what he did. Had a lot of touchdowns. I think he was the number one running back in fantasy. Had a big year, and he's the first one of our running backs here to go to the elite category there. Next up, we have Cam Akers from the Los Angeles Rams, and honestly, massive disappointment this year. He barely played. I was expecting him to be a very good running back, but however, he is a bust this year, and that's our first bust. Honestly, just did not do very good. I think right here, we have Raheem Mostert here from the Dolphins. He was very on and off in San Fran, and really this year he was below average. Did not do that good of a job here. And next one up here, we got Christian McCaffrey from the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, this picture is from when he was with the Panthers earlier this season before he was traded in the big blockbuster move that sent him to San Fran. And since getting to San Fran, he has been insane. Elite running back, honestly. He got back to the form they used to be in the beginning of his time in Carolina. He has done that and even a little more in San Francisco, and he's been a big core contributor to their massive winning streak right now. And they'll want to, let's see if they get to a Super Bowl. I'm thinking they are going to win the NFC right now. But strong team, and he is a big reason why San Francisco, the 49ers, are where they are right now. Next up here, we got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I'm just going to say right now, massive disappointment, and he just did not do much. I'm putting him in the bust category right now. He just did not do enough this year. He had some very big expectations, and he had a great game at the beginning of the season. He had some good games, but to the point he has just not done anything. And right now, I think Pancio, number 10 for the Chiefs, I think he's actually starting right now, not Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So, big disappointment for the first rounder from 2020. I think that's his year. It was a big disappointment. I expect a lot more. Cordell Patterson for the Falcons, he had a lot of injuries. Yeah, no KO. But he's not really average. I'm gonna put him below average right now. He's not on the level as whoa, amazing, average. He's a starter, but he's not one that really do anything for you. If you know what I mean? He's great. There's a lot of great attributes, but this hasn't really shown that he's that good of a running back. So I'm gonna put him at below average for this year. He didn't do much. Dalvin Cook, he had a good year. I thought he played well. He had a good year, but I don't want to put him in right now elite. I don't think he belongs there. He had a good year, but he didn't have an elite year. But still, having a very good year. Like what he did. If he keeps it up, I think he was one of the core contributors to the Vikings. That I think him and Justin Jefferson were the main reasons why they went as far as they did. He had a good year, and I expect more of the same. So I'm gonna put him in the good category. Next year, Next up here we have from New England, we have Stevenson. I'm going to put him at average. He has some good games, but he also had some very average games. So he's literally just the definition of average, I would say, for this year. But overall, good stuff. DeAndre Swift here. Now, he has been interesting. So let's talk a little bit about DeAndre Swift here. Because he has been a little on and off. But he's also had some injuries this year, so you really can't, judge him the best because he has been injured a lot. And, he is only 24 right now. But let's just look at his stats here. And honestly, stats-wise, he really has just not been doing. He's been on and off. Like, he's had some good games. He's had some bad games. Last game he had only 6 attempts, 25 yards. But the game before that he had 78 yards. So really, he's just been in the middle. He had some good games at the beginning of the year, but he's had a lot of injuries as well. And he's had this. The addition of Jamal Williams in there too for Detroit. I'm gonna put him up below average this year. Expect a little more from DeAndre Swift. Didn't get it. David Montgomery, never a great year. I'm going to put him at good. He is like one of the only 2 reasons to watch the Bears. It's him and Fields. Had a great year. We'll see if he does stay or not. It seems like he is on the way out of Chicago. So that is something to watch this year. But I think he had a good year, and he's one of those good running backs. Next up here we have King Henry himself, Derrick Henry. And I'm just going to make this easy for everyone. Never elite year from him. Toward the end, he did have some struggles, but you really can't blame him because he also had to deal with the whole Titans collapse, in which basically he just, after Tannehill went down, let's just say they had to trust in Malik Willis. That would go as well as you'd expect it to go. It was just utterly terrible and, just not good to see. So, yeah, no, definitely just put him. Oh, I just realized. This guy here is Antonio Gibson, isn't he? Yeah, that's Jeff Wilson right there. Alright, yeah, Antonio Gibson. Yeah, he's still below average, but that apparently is Antonio Gibson. My mistake, He's the only one in here I'm not sure about, so I think that's Jeff Wilson right there, and I'll put him below average too. I think that. Yeah, that is him. That looks more like the 49ers colors. Next up here, I think this is Devin Singletary. Average year, I think. We all expect him to be an average running back, have an average year, and he did have that. Still, of course, was a core contributor on that offense. Though, I don't want him to play him. He is a good player, but I don't think he's as good enough to be in these 2 ranges. But he had a good, solid year. Now Ezekiel Elliott, big expectations, and fell pretty short. I am going to put him right now this year below average. He had a very disappointing year, and I expect a lot more out of him. Next up, another guy with a little bit of a disappointing year, James Conner. Last year led the league in touchdowns. This year, like the rest of the Connors, struggled a lot. As much as I like James Conner being a pit man and all, he just didn't have the best year this year. So I'm going to put him at below average. But he has definite potential to get back up to the average or good levels next year, if used correctly. Next up, we have James Robinson from the Jets, and formerly from this year, the Jaguars. Had a great beginning of the year, and fell off, and has become an utter bust this year. I'm going to put him in the bust category. Javonte Williams here. So now this is interesting, because he got out pretty quickly of an injury. I think it was week 5 or 6, but he had a great year before that. So, he had a spectacular year. I'm going to put him in the average right now. If he would have stayed healthy, I would have put him in the good, or even possibly the elite. But just with him not getting to play the whole season, only being out there for 6 games, anyone can be really good 6 games, then it's not going to make you elite or good. And honestly, I think he is going to next year when I do this again next year. He's going to be in the good or the elite category, but right now, just with the injury he had, he's been tough to judge. So I'm going to put him at the average, though, because he had some great games before he got hurt. Next up here, we have J.K. Dobbins. I'm going to put him at average here, because he was hurt nearly all the season, but when he came back toward the end, he was spectacular. But like Javonte Williams, did not play enough games for me to consider him to be good or in the elite category. But if he would have played a lot more of the games and was healthy to play, he would probably be in the good or elite categories. But same thing with Javonte Williams, just didn't play enough, so I'm going to have to put him in the average category. Next up, we have Joe Mixon, and I'm putting him in the good category. He had a good deal, solid deal, and he had that whole insane game against the Saints. I think 5 touchdowns. He had a good deal. I expected a little more from him with the Bengals offense, but the Bengals offense is turning into more of, pass first, and not really focusing on the run as much, which is kind of a disappointment, but I still thought Joe Mixon had a good deal, so I'm going to put him in the good category. Next up, we have Jonathan Taylor, everyone's number 1 overall pick in fantasy football, who was an utter disappointment, and I'm putting him in as a bust this year. He had a bust of a year. He was injury riddled a lot this year. He had a lot of injuries, but even when he played, he just didn't play like he did last year. And he was a massive disappointment in my mind. Hopefully he gets back there, but he needs to do a lot of work in the offseason, and with the whole changes in the Colts organization, it's going to be tough for him to really, get back there. But I think he will next year, but it's just like, you expect more from him, if you know what I mean. Next up here, we have Josh Jacobs, and you saw going in the elite category there. He did an amazing job this year. Great work from him. I led the league in rushing, and in a contract year, he really played up to, because he wanted to get paid, and didn't get a contract before the season, so he was playing for a contract, and boy did he play for a contract. Great season from Josh Jacobs, and I don't think he's going to stay with the Raiders this year, so it'll be interesting to see where he does end up, but definitely one of the elite running backs this year, so great job from Josh Jacobs. Next up, Kareem Hunt. I'm putting him in the bust category. I don't know where the heck he went this year. I didn't even notice him this year. Even the 2 games that we played against Cleveland and Steelers, you could barely notice him. He just has fallen out of a role there. He just doesn't have one right now, because Nick Chubb is just so good that he's taking it over. So I'm going to put him in the bust category. He has not done anything so far this year. Next up, Leonard Fournette. A lot of people expected him to be better. Of course, we had all heard about the overweight stuff, allegedly, and it showed he was not prepared for the season. Honestly, it makes you wonder, was he really prepared for it at all this year? I don't think he was, and I'm putting him in the bust category. Awful year from him. And next up here we have another bust in Melvin Gordon. He fell off this year like the rest of the Broncos, and he played awful. And he literally got cut. He's not even in the NFL right now, but we expected so much out of him. We thought we were going to get a very interesting running back room with him and Javonte Williams. But Williams got hurt, and when they needed Melvin Gordon to play up, he could not play up at all and played pretty awfully, and honestly, he's now not even in the NFL because he was that bad. Next up here we have Breece Hall from the Jets. Had a great showing there until he got hurt and was out for a year. I'm going to put him at average. He is a rookie, and I think he has a lot of potential for the Jets. And if I'm the Jets, I'm very excited about him. I think he's going to be a core contributor to their teams in the future, and he's going to be a very exciting player to watch. So I like what he's done this year, and I think he's going to continue to do great things for the league and for the Jets. So moving on here, we got from the Philadelphia Eagles, Miles Sanders had a very good year. I liked what he did, and that whole Eagles offense exploded there at the best possible time, and I liked what I saw out of him. So good job from Miles Sanders, and he helped the Eagles go on a very big run, especially early on the year. I think they went 8-0. It was 8 or 9-0, but still, great job, and the Eagles have had a spectacular year, and he was a main contributor as to why. So next up here on the list, we have Najee Harris from my Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's been a tricky one. He had a lot of really bad games at the beginning, but he was also going through a lymphatic injury, so honestly, when you're that injured, he was really downplaying his injury, it looks, because from the bye on, he was a completely different player. He was the Najee that we drafted. So I think a lot of his bad starts beginning was due to injuries. I think if he would have played like he did the second half of the whole year, I would have put him in the good category, but you can clearly tell, that whole first half, it was clearly injuries that hampered him. And that second half, he played a great job, so I'm going to put him at the average category right now. If he wouldn't have been injured and would have played like he did in the second half, I would have put him in the good category. But just honestly, I think next year he'll be good in the elite category, but he just wasn't healthy for those first 8 games, and it really did take a big hit on the stats. But he really made up for it in the second half, and he balled off in the second half, and he did a great job for the Steelers, and he was one of the main contributors as to why they had that poor late season loss and nearly made the playoffs. And even somehow going from 2-6 to having a winning season, he was one of the main contributors there. And he has a lot of great potential, and he showed how good he can be in that second half. So I think he's still. I don't know. There's some people lost hope on him. They're totally crazy. He still is there. He's just had a pretty big injury he downplayed. Honestly, he probably shouldn't have played through it, but sometimes you gotta. Sometimes people just want to play through, and he did. So even though it took a hit to his stats, still had a good year. Nick Chubb from the Browns up here next. I don't even think I need to say it. Elite. He had elite year, one of the top running backs in the league. Great job by him, and he is very exciting to see and has a lot of great hope for the future. Next up here we have Kenneth Walker, the rookie from Michigan State, who went to the Seahawks in the second round. I think he had I'm going to put him at average here. I think for a rookie, he had a great season, and he's got a lot of great stuff to build upon, and I think the Seahawks, they're going to have a very bright future with the whole Russell Wilson trade, and Russell Wilson falling apart here. They're going to have a very bright future. I like Kenneth Walker as a player. He has played well, and I expect him to continue to play very well in this league and take a big step up his second year. So definitely a lot of excitement for Seahawks fans in that category here. So I'm right now trying to figure out who this is. I know the other running back, but I just can't figure out his name. So let me just get his name here so I can say it correctly. But let's see. Oh yeah. So that's Alright. So that is Stevenson actually. Alright. So this one's Stevenson. Yeah, he was average then. This is Damien Harris. Oh yeah. So that's who it was. Alright. So Damien Harris belongs down below average. And at average here, we have Rhamondre Stevenson. So that is actually Rhamondre Stevenson. And this is Damien Harris. Disappointing year from Damien Harris. And a good year for Rhamondre Stevens. Next up here we have Saquon Barkley of the Giants out of Penn State. The 2018 second overall pick. And boy, did he play up to that right now. He turned back into the Saquon they drafted. And I'm just going to say it, he is an elite running back, spectacular season, and the main reason why the Giants have gone where they've gone this year. So, honestly, great job by him. He really did salvage his career this year from what people were saying, that his career was ruined by injuries and stuff. He played out of that this year, and he really got himself back to where a lot of us expect him to be, and he has turned back into one of the top running backs in the league. Next up here, we got Tony Pollard, and I'm going to put him at good. Alright, he had a good year, I think. He basically played up when Zeke couldn't. He is starting as the backup, but honestly, he really has taken over Dallas's backfield as Zeke is just kind of fallen off here. I think Pollard right now, he is the man going forward. I think that's what they should do. Because Zeke is just, I don't know, he lost it in my opinion. I just don't think he's as good as he used to be, and I think Pollard, he is the guy for the future, and I say they got to keep going with him. So Tony Pollard, he had himself a good year. And lastly, here we have the second-year man, but technically his first year due to him being injured all of his rookie year. Travis Etienne, and he had a good year. I think he really did come out and play. I liked what he did. He has a lot of great potential. I think him with Trevor Lawrence is working out pretty well. So he was a big contributor to Jacksonville, getting back there and having a good year. And yeah, I like what he's done. And I think he's going to continue to do great things for the league. And for Jacksonville, I think he had a very good season. And that pretty much does it here for this video. Here are the rankings, of course, your final rankings for the running backs from this season in the NFL. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And 2 weeks we'll have more videos coming up. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.